Even holy men can suffer from mental illness. I'm Dr. Anthony Claude. I'm a board-certified psychiatrist. Recently, I've been reading through the book of Job, and I noticed that Job, in severe moments of grief and despair, wanted his life to end. And in psychiatric terms, we call this passive suicidal ideations, meaning he felt so depressed that he wanted his life to end, but he wasn't going to actually take away his life. Often we see this as a sign of depression. And this is not the only sign of depression that Job had. If you look through his story in the Old Testament, we can see in various places that Job was so depressed that he wanted his life to end. We see that he had no appetite for food. He felt hopeless at times, and he felt in despair. So he has multiple symptoms of depression. Now, many medical students and psychiatrists know that in order for someone to be clinically depressed, you need at least 5 of 9 symptoms over a 2-week span. And the mnemonic here is SIGI CAPS. So depression can affect one's sleep, one's interest in daily activities. They may get a feeling of guilt. It could affect their energy. One's concentration may be impaired, their appetite may be impaired, their activity level. And then it can get to the point where one gets suicidal. And so we can see that Job himself, one of the most holy people in Scripture, the one that God said he was very proud of, even a man of this holy stature, suffered from symptoms of depression. And really severe depression, when you get hopeless or when you want your life to end, that's pretty severe depression. And so it made me wonder what other people in the Bible suffer through this depression or through these moments. Elijah is another character in the Old Testament who did miracles in the hands of God, including making the rain stop for 3 years and 6 months. There was a time where he was afraid of his life because of an evil queen, and he asked God also to end his life. Another form of passive suicidal ideation. Jeremiah the prophet also said that cursed was the day that he was born, and he suggests he would rather have been killed in his mother's womb than live the life that he's been living. Moses, one of the most inspirational guys from the Old Testament who led the Israelites out of Egypt, who done a number of miracles to help them survive in the wilderness, to get them to escape from Pharaoh's slavery. Moses himself says that if God is going to continue to treat him a certain way, to just kill him now, that he'd rather not want to continue to live in that condition. King Solomon, one of the wisest and richest people ever to live, also suggests that he praises the dead more than he praises the living. And St. Paul himself, one of the most inspirational characters of the New Testament, said that he'd rather die and be in heaven with God than live on earth. But that living on earth was more important for his mission and to help preach the gospel of Christ. So you can see that there's so many different people in the Old Testament that were very holy, close to God, and yet they also suffered from mental ailments. And I know there's so many factors that can go on in one's life. Sometimes we have these problems and we go to mental health treatment and we try psychiatric medications or therapy. But what's lacking is our spiritual life. And the more you improve your spiritual life, the more it's going to help with the physical health and mental health. But we can see that even if we live a very good spiritual life, almost perfect spiritual life, circumstances in our life might cause us to go through a depression. Job lost his family, he lost his house, he lost so many things. He got physically sick, not because of anything he did, but because he was so holy and pleasing to God that God allowed the devil to do this to him as a test for him. Elijah as well was doing miracles in life and getting other people to know about God, that it caused others to be jealous and angry at him. And because others were getting jealous and angry at him, he was afraid of his life and he wanted to die. And Moses, despite all the good that he did, he had moments wanted his life to end because of the challenges that he faced. So hopefully these examples just help us to see that if someone's feeling sad or depressed or in despair, they're not alone. Even some of the holiest people in the Bible felt this way, and that it's okay to get help for some of your conditions. It's okay to see a psychiatrist or a therapist or ask a spiritual advisor for help, because some of the most holiest men who ever lived also needed help to get through what they were going through. Hopefully you liked this video. Be sure to like the video if you did and subscribe to the channel. Help support the channel. Thank you for watching.